Sandy Steinman here, President of Background Checks Express, your one-stop source for accurate and affordable background checking. In previous videos, we've examined why employers should worry about complying with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And last week we looked at the third step on compliance with the Act, which was the pre-adverse notice, in which the employer, having decided not to hire the applicant with a background check based in whole or in part on the search results, sends a pre-adverse notice to the applicant along with a copy of the report, a copy of their rights to the applicant, and just telling them that their plan is not to hire them at this point. Today we're going to talk about the fourth step, which is the final adverse notice. If after sending out the pre-adverse notice, the employer intends to make a final decision not to hire, the employer is required to take one more step. The employer must send the applicant a final notice of adverse action informing the job applicant that the employer has made a final decision, and they must provide a copy of the form called Summary of Your Rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act to the applicant. It does seem slightly bizarre that Congress intended that an applicant be notified twice, both before and after any adverse action. But they've done this to give the applicant the maximum opportunity to correct any incomplete or inaccurate reports that might affect their ability to find employment. A real dilemma, though, rears its head, and this happens a lot, when an employer actually hires an employee and allows him to begin work before the background check is complete, and then finds that the background check uncovers negative information that would have prevented the applicant from being hired in the first place. The first instinct in those cases is to call the person in, hand them the report, the final paycheck, and both letters at one time, send them on their way, telling them never to darken your doorstep again. This approach, while practical, does not give the applicant a reasonable time to review and respond to the report, and so their rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act may be violated. The best procedure is to give the employee their report, a statement of their rights, the letter, and an opportunity to respond. The second letter should be sent only after a reasonable period of time has passed and the employee has had the opportunity to respond but didn't. And as a rule of thumb, I like someplace between 4 and 5 days. This seems like a pain, but sometimes operating with the FCR can be challenging. But it's a better way than the litigation offered by the alternative. Next week, we're going to look at some questions that are asked about the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and I think you'll find them very instructive and very interesting. If you're an employer, I hope you'll continue to follow this series of videos, because what you learn here could well keep you out of court, and that's our mission. If you have any question about the Fair Credit Reporting Act in general, or the release and disclosure specifically, or any of the things we've discussed, just feel free to call me at 844-SCREEN-NOW. That's 844-727-3366. In the meanwhile, be safe, hire safe, and I'll see you in the next video.